today. Hey, I want to give you a quick video this afternoon to talk about what banks actually do with our money once we get it. So I was on a stream yesterday, and there was a guy on the stream with me, and he was all about his credit union. He's like, I was telling him, putting money in your own banking system, using something called the sacred account to become your own banker. And so I was talking about what happens when we put our money in a bank, right? And so, if you guys don't know, I'll give you a quick just rundown on what actually occurs. So when you put money into a bank, first thing, you're depositing money, right? You're the depositor. So your deposit goes into the bank. The banker then borrows against your deposit, right? So you're not keeping your deposit in a neat little nice shoebox in a vault where it's going to be used for you or stored for you to come back and get when you're ready for it. Instead, it gets borrowed against. Who borrows against it? The banker does. How much do they borrow? They're borrowing 98 to 100% of our money, which means you only have 0 to 2% of your dollars left. Okay, think with that. Like, pretend you park your car in a garage overnight and someone else takes your car and rents it out and doesn't tell you about it. You wouldn't feel very confident in that garage, right? You'd be like, if I knew that, I probably wouldn't put my car there, or I would at least want to cut. I would want some of the income they're bringing in. Well, that's not even happening with the bank. So they're taking your money, they're loaning it out to other people, and what are they paying you on your savings account? On the high end, the national average for like a high-end savings account is 0.40%. So they're not even giving you half of 1% on your money, but they're loaning it out. Now, who are they loaning it to? The bank loans your money to anybody that if you've ever done a mortgage, a car loan, a credit card, debt consolidation, a student loan, that's who is borrowing the deposits. So when somebody goes and gets a mortgage at 4%, the bank is loaning out my money and your money to that individual, paying us 0.40, then taking our money and putting it at risk and earning 4%. Right? How many times does 0.40 go into 4? Right? That's a lot. That's a big deal. Okay, I think that's 100 times. Is that 100 times or 10 times? Something like that, right? So it's a big number. So they're making, I think that's 10 times the return, right? 0.40 times 10 puts you at 4. So they're making 10 times more money than they pay us, putting our money at risk. Okay? Now, on average, and this is a study that was done by Bauer Financial, on average, when we deposit our money in a bank, over a year's worth of time, that bank will make anywhere from 400 to 1,300% more than we do by putting our money at risk. That's what they're generating on our deposits, right? So they make that profit because they're loaning it out at 4 and paying us 0.4. They keep the profit, and then what do they do with it? The banks in the United States, the largest banks in the United States are the number one owner and purchaser of high early cash value dividend paying whole life insurance. So they're taking our deposits, they're borrowing against them, 98 to 100% of the money we put in, they're loaning that out to other people, they're making massive amounts of profit, they're taking that profit and then putting it into life insurance policies. Okay, these are the same kind of life insurance policies that the Rockefellers used. Okay, that the Rothschilds used, that Teddy Roosevelt used, that Walt Disney used to start Disneyland, that Ray Kroc used to expand McDonald's, that Stanford University used to become the university that they are today. Right? The banks are taking the profits they generate and they're putting them there, a large portion. So I was talking on this stream yesterday, I was explaining this concept, and this guy was completely disagreeing with it. He's like, no, this doesn't happen when I put it in my credit union. You're just trying to sell something, da-da-da-da-da. And so I had to level with the guy, and if that's the mindset, you don't understand what's going on with your money. So if you change one thing and add one step, okay, the one thing you would change is the location you put your money, right? So instead, you would actually buy the same kind of life insurance policy the banks themselves are using. It's called high early cash value dividend paying whole life insurance. If you don't believe me, go Google bank-owned life insurance, BOLI, BOLI. And you'll see all over the place, the banks are buying this stuff up like it's going out of style. Right, over $200 billion collectively between 3,000 banks in the United States. That's how much money they've got in this stuff. They're the number one owner and the number one purchaser of it. So obviously it works. They're not stupid, right? If they were stupid, why would we be giving our money to them? Okay, now the other thing the guy brought up, he's like, okay, well, yeah, well, of course they're borrowing against it. What's wrong with that? What do you mean, what's wrong with that? Okay, that's crazy. Like, if you don't see a problem with you putting money in the bank and then the bank borrowing against that money to loan it out or even to invest it, Silicon Valley Bank, that the one that just went under, they were buying private equity technology stocks. That's the most risky thing you could buy next to Bitcoin itself. Right? They might as well have been buying Bitcoin. They were taking all of, imagine if you went into the bank and you were like, here's my deposit, put it in my savings account, I'm saving up for a house. And they're like, cool. And you're like, what are you going to do with it? And they're like, oh, we're going to buy Bitcoin. You'd probably be like, can I have my deposit back? I don't want to bank here anymore. Okay, that's the kind of stuff Silicon Valley Bank was doing. And they lost money because that's what happens when you invest in speculative private equity technology stocks. So they lost the money. They lost the depositors' money. The depositors pull our money out of the bank, and the bank was like, okay, well, we don't actually have it. Right? And then the question comes up about, well, what about the FDIC insurance? And this is what that guy brought up yesterday. Two things. Over 90% of the deposits in Silicon Valley Bank were too large for FDIC insurance. Okay, you're only insured up to like $250,000 per account. So if you have more than that, you don't get paid back on that extra amount. Second thing, the FDIC is insolvent. The last statistic that I saw, the FDIC has only about enough money to cover 1% of all deposits in the nation, meaning if everyone pulled their money out, 99% of the money, if it was lost, wouldn't be there. It's not going to get covered by the FDIC. In fact, the bankers are the ones that pay the FDIC insurance premiums, and they lobbied Congress about a decade ago to no longer have to pay the premiums. So why is it insolvent? Because the bankers don't pay their premiums. It's like you driving your car and saying, don't worry, I've got car insurance, but you haven't paid your premiums for 10 months. What do you think is going to happen if your car gets in a wreck? The insurance is not going to pay because you haven't been paying your premiums, right? Now, what does that mean for you as an individual? It means your money's not as safe as you think in a bank. So if you put it in life insurance instead, that's the one change. Change the location of your money. Put it in the life insurance policy instead. You're going to get more growth than the bank gives you. You're going to have access to it just like the bank. It's not being loaned out to other people. It's way more protected than the bank. It's protected from lawsuits and creditors and taxes and so many other things. Plus, you have a death benefit. Plus, by owning this policy, they make you a shareholder in the company. So you earn interest and you earn dividends. You're not getting paid dividends and profits from the bank. They're not sharing that with you. Okay? Now, by changing the location, not only do you get all that good stuff as a depositor, you actually become the banker. You're allowed to borrow against your own money. Now, this guy on TikTok, he's like, well, so if you want to be able to become your own banker, this is the system that I would recommend using. You borrow against your own money, you loan it to yourself, you then pay off debt, or you invest, or you make wise financial decisions with it. You pay yourself back with principal and interest just like you would if it was someone else's bank, and then you're earning guaranteed interest on your deposit. You're earning just like the bank does, the difference between what you're borrowing for and what you're earning, and you're getting dividends on the profits of that whole system as an owner of the company, just like the bank does. You can literally become your own banker, okay? This is a 200-year-old concept. Where you put your money now, I promise, is not that old. It's less established. The wealthy don't use what you're doing right now, and it's not going to make you rich. Okay, by switching just one thing, and you've got to change your mindset on this because you've been conditioned by Wall Street and banks and the IRS to give them your money first every month so that you let them do these things with it. Instead, you've got to take control, okay? So if you're watching this video today, if you want to check out how you can do that, I want to give you a link you can go to. If you go to sacredaccounts.com, there's a 90-minute masterclass there, right? 90 minutes because in 90 minutes, I'm going to teach you how to become your own banker. If you go to sacredaccount.com, you'll be able to take that free 90-minute masterclass, learn all about this concept, even schedule a free consultation if you'd like to, and get set up to become your own banker. That's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. Like, share, and follow. I'll see you next time.